Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma is proud to present The Shasteen Show from London's in downtown Tullahoma. Brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Shasteen and Ken Keller.
And good afternoon and welcome into the July edition of The Shasteen Show, our first show of the month of July. You know what that means? That means high school football season is 45 days away from kickoff right here on 93.9 The Duck, August 16th, Tullahoma and Shelbyville at Wilkins Stadium. And tonight we're going to welcome in the head coach of the Tullahoma Wildcats. John Olive will join us here in just a few minutes for a couple of segments. We'll break down this year's Wildcat team. We will take a look at Region 4-4A, sort of how it stacks up this year. Coach Olive will join us here in about 15 minutes. Along with Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. We've got some things to talk about tonight other than high school football, and we'll lead off with the big news. The greatest basketball player in the world right now joins the greatest basketball franchise in the world, Ken Keller. Aren't you proud to welcome LeBron James to the LA Lakers?
I am. I'm glad for you. You have 154 million reasons to be happy tonight, Scott.
What do
Number
you think,
23 in purple and gold. And, you know, what's he going to look like in a Lakers jersey?
I don't know. They've been photoshopping him in it for months, so I think we got a pretty good idea of what he's going to look like.
I brought this in for you. This is what he's going to look like in a Lakers jersey. How about that?
He's going to look just like that in a Lakers jersey. I think he looks pretty good. You know, I've never been a huge LeBron James fan, as many of you know who have listened to me over the years, but guess what? That's about to change, because when you put on the purple and gold, I instantly become a big fan. And this is not the first time that the Lakers have done this, okay? In 1972, maybe 71, maybe 69, I don't know. I was young. But the Lakers went out and got the best big man in the game in Wilt Chamberlain. Went out and got Wilt Chamberlain, won an NBA title in 1972. He had been the MVP 3 years in a row for the Philadelphia Warriors. For you youngsters, yes, the Warriors were in Philadelphia. And Wilt Chamberlain had been the MVP for 3 years in a row. The Lakers went out and got him. They proceeded to set an NBA record with 33 wins in a row and win the 72 NBA championship.
That's a bunch.
That's a big bunch.
Wilt the Stilt.
And then in 1974, the Lakers did it again.
Yeah.
They went out and got the reigning NBA MVP, NBA champion Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from the Milwaukee Bucks, and he proceeded to win 5 NBA titles in Los Angeles.
Also known as Louis Alcindor.
He was Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor.
In his younger days.
Indeed. Yes.
And so this is not new for the Lakers to go out and get the best player in the world to play for the Lakers. But I'll tell you one thing this does. I don't think that this year the Lakers challenge the Warriors. I think the Warriors are just too good. Now the Lakers have brought in Rajon Rondo. They signed Kendavius Caldwell-Pope. They signed JaVale McGee. They even signed Lance Stevenson, who famously blew in LeBron's ear 2 or 3 years ago in the playoffs. So they've signed all those guys to one-year deals, and what that tells me is that the Lakers are really shooting for next summer, when I think they're going to have an opportunity to get Kawhi Leonard. He'll be a free agent next year if he doesn't get traded from the Spurs. If they don't get him this year, they're going to get him next year. Also, Klay Thompson will be a free agent with the Golden State Warriors next year. I think he could be a potential target for the Lakers. Look, all those Warriors aren't going to stay at Golden State for their whole careers. That's not how the NBA works anymore.
Right.
Klay Thompson's father, Michael Thompson, was a #1 draft pick of the Los Angeles Lakers and won a championship or 2 in LA. So I think there's a good chance Klay Thompson comes to LA next year as well. Ken, they're going to build a world championship team in LA. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, you know, he's partnering with Magic Johnson. I think he came to his house and kind of recruited him, but it was pretty much a done deal after he went to Europe and took a vacation with his wife. So, you know, it's when the Lakers are relevant, it's good for the NBA. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys in the NFL. When they're relevant, it's good for the NFL. So I think you'll see the puzzle pieces come together. They've already signed, I think, 4 guys to 1-year deals. None of them really star players. Ray John Rondo, a pretty good player. Kawhi Leonard with the San Antonio Spurs. Look, they're Western Conference, and Pop's not going to send him over to the Lakers unless they get their money's worth in return, or equal value in player equity there. So we'll see how that goes. But he said he's willing to sit out the entire season and then go play with the Lakers. And you're right, in 2 years he's probably going to be there. So we'll see who else they pick up. I think they're far from finished right now. And you said how many championships, NBA championships, have the Lakers?
The Lakers have won 16.
Okay, and they've played the Celtics many times. And, maybe the NBA is trying to get back to the Boston Celtics and Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals. And this is going to make it happen sooner than later, I think, because Boston's a rising team as well.
Oh, absolutely. And nobody's happier about LeBron going to the Western Conference than the Boston Celtics.
You bet.
I think you can pencil them in for the NBA Finals numerous times over the next few years. Brad Stevens is a fantastic coach. The Celtics have got a lot of young talent. They almost got there this year. And with LeBron gone, I think they're in fact, the odds came out for the NBA championship. The Warriors obviously number 1 heading into next year, but the Celtics and the Lakers are tied at number 2, 7-2 odds to make it to the NBA Finals. So
that's crazy.
Already LeBron has swung the pendulum big time.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled for one thing, Ken, that we can get some Lakers-Celtics rivalry games back up, because that's a rivalry that the NBA needs, whether it's the finals or any time during the regular season. The NBA is always better when a good Lakers team's playing a good Celtics team. And I wouldn't be too surprised. I haven't seen an NBA schedule come out yet. Don't be shocked if the Lakers and Celtics are playing on Christmas Day. That is a huge day for the NBA. There's like 6 games. Don't be surprised if the Lakers and Celtics are not that ABC 2:30 in the afternoon Christmas Day game.
You heard it here first on the Shasteen Show. He's breaking some news there.
That could be good.
That could be great.
Good.
Yeah.
It's huge news, though, when the greatest player on the planet moves anywhere. It was huge news.
It didn't take long either, did it?
When he went to Miami, it was huge news when he went back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it's huge news again. Signs a 4-year contract for $154 million. Now, the 4th year is player option, so LeBron could leave after 3 years if he wants to.
Yeah.
But I'm betting that they've built such a machine out there in 3 years that he doesn't want to go anywhere. He finishes up the home of Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West. Yeah. 7 of the top 10 all-time leading scorers in NBA history will now have played in Los Angeles.
That's amazing.
6 of them I just named. And Karl Malone, believe it or not, played a year in Los Angeles. Gary Payton actually played a year in Los Angeles. They didn't do
Good
anything.
Players.
But 7 of the top 10 scorers all time will have now played in Los Angeles. That's pretty big.
That's your team, man.
I'm ready for the NBA now.
Showtime has returned.
I hadn't watched a regular season game in 5 years. Now I'm ready for some NBA.
Yeah.
What else is going on? It's the start of a huge series in baseball tonight. The Braves and the Yankees square off. It's only the 3rd time since 1997 that the 2 teams with the best record in the league, the top record in the National League, top record in American League, have gone head-to-head in interleague play in the regular season. Braves and Yankees, man, the Braves, they swept the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They're flying high right now.
Well, we talked about it in our baseball preseason edition. The Braves were picked 30 games behind the Washington Nationals in their division. Nobody thinks that's going to happen now. So you can wipe that out the door and begin talking about the Atlanta Braves actually winning their division. And as you said, a monumental matchup tonight. The Braves 14 games over, the Yankees 27 games over, the 2 best records in their respective leagues. So this is going to be a great matchup tonight. We'll see if Anibal Sanchez can get it done for the Braves on the road tonight in New York in the battle in the Bronx.
Let's play a little trivia. Now, we're going to have to do trivia different tonight if you're listening, and we know you are. You listen all across Middle Tennessee because you call us every week.
Yep.
If you've been listening over the weekend, And late last week, you'll know that the Duck took a direct lightning hit. I mean, a direct lightning shot. We were off the air for 2 or 3 days, and we're back on now, but the phone system is still down, so you do not get the call for your trivia answer. So here's how you're going to have to win trivia tonight. You're going to have to come to London's. We are downtown at the corner of Lincoln Street and the alley. It's known as Wall Street. We're at the corner here at London's in downtown Tullahoma. You're going to have to show up by 7 o'clock to win this trivia. Ken, tell the folks what they're going to win, where they're going to win it from.
All right, we're playing Tullahoma Wildcat Flashback tonight. So we've got 2 very unique gifts here that we're going to give away right here on the Shasteen Show tonight by Tullahoma Awards and Gifts. We have 2 Bowman Chrome baseball cards of 2 brothers who were great athletes here in Tullahoma, Jordan and Justice Sheffield. Now, tonight's question pertains to a legendary Tullahoma great on the gridiron, and Scott's going to fire that question away right here in a minute, and I bet somebody in here knows the answer to this, and they're going to get this and win these 2 cards. This is first edition Bowman cards. Jordan Sheffield and his brother Justice. David Hess has made his name made known in the major leagues, and these 2 brothers, Jordan and Justice Sheffield, trying to make it to the big leagues. Jordan with the Los Angeles Dodger organization and Justice with the New York Yankee organization. But Justice is in his Indians uniform as he was drafted by the Cleveland Indians. So you get both cards if you win tonight, but you have to come inside London's and tell us the answer tonight to win these baseball cards of Jordan and Justice Sheffield, given to us by Tullahoma Awards and Gifts, located inside Northgate Mall in Tullahoma.
And now both of those young men wore the football uniform of the Tullahoma Wildcats as freshmen. Justice, he took a few kickoffs and that sort of thing, really didn't make an impact. Jordan, I guess he was he sophomore when he played? He was fantastic. He had one of the great years of any player I've ever seen, returning kicks as a receiver. Jordan Sheffield was a phenomenal football player, heck of a safety. When he tackled, he wrapped up and took you to the ground. So this is a football question. Now, you old school Tullahoma folks, you're going to know this right off the bat. So come down here to London's and get these 2 baseball cards of the Sheffield brothers. It's a flashback question. As a Tullahoma Wildcat, I was the leading high school football scorer in the CTC Conference in 1955, earning all mid-state first team honors and was named second team All-State. Should have been first team. I was a fierce competitor, and I lived by the mantra, win without boasting, lose without excuse. I have a youth football league named after me. Who am I? Come to London's before 7 o'clock and pick up these 2 Sheffield baseball cards. The leading scorer in the CTC Conference in 1955, earned all mid-state first team honors, named second team All-State, win without boasting, lose without excuse. I have a football league named after me. Who am I? Come to London's before 7 o'clock. Give us the correct answer. You will be a winner. The head coach and athletic director at Tullahoma High School, John Olive, joins us next. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. This is the Shasteen Show, 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? Light Tube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what the Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, the Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike, from pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team. Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
You're listening to The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma. Now back to the guys live from London's downtown Tullahoma.
And we welcome you back downtown to London's, along with Ken Keller and John Olive. I'm Scott Shasteen. Welcome back in to The Shasteen Show. Again, Tullahoma Wildcat, leading high school football scorer in the CTC Conference in 1955. All Mid-State first team, All-State second team. He's got a youth football league named after him here in Tullahoma. You can't miss this one. Just walk into London's and tell us the name. You'll win these 2 Sheffield baseball cards. We welcome in, by far, the most interviewed man of my radio career. John Olive joins us here, Coach. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, we appreciate you doing it. You're a week away from the start of fall football practice. You're in the dead period now. I know you've got a camp coming up next week, so let's take this opportunity to promote that camp a little bit.
We do a camp every year coming out of the dead period for students that are 2nd grade through 8th grade. And the basic fundamentals of the game. We provide T-shirts like everybody does, and but primarily for the last 2 years we've had a tremendous group of middle schoolers, and so we go ahead and start installing some things that the middle school coaches have asked us to install and to teach it the way that we want it to be taught. And so that's been a big advantage for the last 2 years, is that we're able to put in a couple of pass plays and a couple of run plays that are going to be bread and butter for the middle school. And so we'll see what our numbers are this time, but that's worked pretty well for us the last 2 years.
Coach John Olive joining us here on the Shasteen Show live from London's. Coach, let's start with the off season. You've just finished up summer workouts, coming off the spring game in May till now the dead period. I've heard a lot of good things about what's been going on down in the Creed McClure Fieldhouse in the weight room with the Tullahoma Wildcat football team. Let's start out. What's different about your weight program, maybe that different than maybe was happening 3 or 4 years ago?
The age of the players that are in that weight room is the biggest difference. We finally have a senior class that's going to be adequate size and so forth. And so that's made a big difference. You've had young men that have been in that weight room now for 4 years, and so they're paid, the dividends are being paid. You got the multi-sport athletes who are sold on it, and when basketball practice is over, they're calling up assistant coaches to come and open the weight room up for them or meet them down there. Not very many want to meet early in the morning, but it's incredible how many times we have assistant coaches that have been going down to the field house and unlocking it, allowing young men to work out. And I'll tell you, we've had some young ladies down there working out this June. I mean, just hammering there, and literally hammering is I watch them swing those sledgehammers on the tires as we're outside when they're in there. And that's apparently one of their stations, though, is to come outside where the big tractor tires are, and they'll swing those sledgehammers away. So it's been a good good month of June. Coach Sis, Coach Britton, and Larry Campbell do a great job in there. You see the benefits of having somebody in there that just gets fired up over success of moving somebody from point A to point B. They're not interested. They're interested in the sport part of it, but they're not into the schematics of football or the schematics of basketball or baseball. They're just into, I can help you go from point A to point B. And if I get you to point B, then we're going to go to point C. And I think that's big.
We see the social media videos of these strength and conditioning coaches. The guy from Alabama, he's just wild.
Right.
And Tennessee's now got one that's got that same sort of personality. That's what you're talking about with being excited about when the kids make gains.
Yep. And I hope not in the too far off future that we at Tullahoma are able to make a commitment to try to work something out where that's what we have, is we've got a strength and conditioning coach for our athletic teams, and not an assistant coach being a strength and conditioning coach. So that's a goal that I've got. I don't know whether we can get that pulled off or not, but we're going to try.
Yeah, I'd like to get one of those where I work as well.
Maybe we could split one.
Maybe we could split one. That's an excellent idea. That's something we can talk about.
I'm into deals.
All right, Coach, I know Ken's got some questions. We didn't really get together and decide what was what, but I'm going to start with this. Your offense last year averaged 33.9 points a game. Now, I went back. I've got every score from every game to 1969 when the playoffs started. And before 1969, really before 1975 or 80, football was a different game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that last year's team at 33.9 points a game was the highest scoring team in Tullahoma Wildcat history per game. Not total points, but per game. Higher than any of the quarterfinal teams that made it or any of that sort of thing that I figured up. So very prolific offense last year. Defensively, gave up 34.5 points a game. What do you see that's going to not just flip that, but flip it considerably defensively? We got to get that back down. You know that. Right. What do you see that's going to make that difference on defense this year?
Overall team speed. Okay. To be able to play defense in today's game, you got to be able to run. And then you got to be able to tackle, and you got to be able to know what your angles are and not blow coverages, etc. But it all comes back to you got to have speed. And if you don't have speed to be able to close on the ball, you can tackle as well as you want to tackle. But if you're hitting them 7 yards past the line of scrimmage, 2 of those is first downs, and if you miss the tackle, it's a touchdown. And so I think we'll see for the first time in several years, and I mean probably going back to 2011, we finally have enough speed on the defensive side of the ball that we can close the ball. In the red and white game, we closed the ball faster. We had several plays in that game that would have broke for touchdowns in previous springs that didn't go because there was somebody there that had closed in on the football rapidly. Instead, it's a 7-yard gain, 8-yard gain instead of a touchdown. There were several that were made at the line of scrimmage for a 1 or 2 yard gain that would have been 7 or 8 a year ago. So that's what we're hoping, is that we build upon that. Offensively, I don't think we'll be as good this year as we were last year. I think we'll struggle moving the football early in the year, in particular, as we try to grow into some things. But defensively, I'll really be disappointed if we're not a lot better defensive team than we've been for at least the last 4 or 5 years.
I want to focus in on the linebacker position a little bit, because I think that's going to be a real strength of your team. Samari Lane, Bryson Korn, Peyton Howard, all those guys are back. Is that the strength of the defense?
I think probably overall, but I'm telling you, our defensive ends are as good as they've been in a while. Since we've had Joseph London's and Alan Starks, that crew, our Ross at one end and Cox at the other, and we got 3 solid backups in behind them that have all played, and it's nice to have defensive ends that can run 4.8s. We've been playing with we've even played with defensive backs for the last 3 or 4 years that ran 5.3s and 5.4s.
Oh, wow.
So to have 2 defensive ends and there's 2 more kids out of that 5 that they can run below a 5 flat too. Now, we don't have any super speeds. I had Lance Bourdonnais stop by today when we were down there.
He was
doing some
super
work.
speed.
He was super speed, and we don't have anybody that can run like Lance. But overall, we've got more kids that can run better than what we have had. And I think that gives us a chance to be a lot better on the defensive side.
I want to ask you about one, and I'll turn it over to Ken for a couple of questions. And Matt Ross is certainly one of your top two-way players. I mean, he just really brings it on both sides of the ball. But Ty Cox, he stands out. I mean, this guy's a big play maker.
Yep.
What is it about Ty that gives him that he's got a motor, as they say in football. He's got that motor, doesn't he?
He does have a motor. We're having to play him as a two-way player as well. He plays as an undersized offensive tackle just because he will run and he will hit and he will try to do what he's been asked to do. Defensively, after the Franklin County game last year, he became a really good defensive end. He got embarrassed against Franklin County, and it was just one of those games where you said, what are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm watching it on video. I can't tell you what I'm doing. And I know that I gig him every now and then. That was in the Shelbyville game, crucial play. It's 4th down there toward the end of the game. He's supposed to be rushing the quarterback. He's dropped 20 yards deep. And I said, "Ooh, when the coach says put that in, Ty."
Yeah, what play is that?
But he's a great kid. He is a natural leader, and he is a tremendously hard worker.
Leadership is so critical. John Olive joining us here on the Shasteen Show. We are live at London's. Ken?
Yeah, leadership is definitely critical, and I was going to talk about you guys lost 8 seniors last year, John. This is a senior-laden team. You see 3 shutout quarters in that red and white game, so you got to be excited about the defense. Everybody wants to talk about who's going to be the starting quarterback. I'm excited about this defense, and I think Tullahoma Nation is. I counted up 16 players that have appreciable playing time defensively, so I think you're going to be strong at all levels. You've got playmakers in the defensive backfield. Your cornerbacks are back. Kobe Burke's back there along with all these other guys, Stroop back there. Non-offensive touchdowns. You guys created some of them last year in special teams, kickoff returns and such, defensive interceptions. Kobe Burke, that long 99-yard run that he had. Ty Cox with the interception in the first game against the Shelbyville Golden Eagles to get you that 37-7 lead at the half. So defense is going to be stout this year. So from what you're saying, and I believe it when I was looking at this today, I said there are going to be some 24-20 games and 27-20 games versus 49-42 games probably this year. Do you think?
I hope so.
Yeah.
If the other team's getting up in the 40s, we're going to struggle.
Yeah. And, of course,
I don't think we'll get there.
Yeah.
Not on a regular, consistent basis.
Yeah.
But I do, it's just one of those things when you're trying to put together a team, and it's amazing. On some years, you're missing, you got a hole here or there.
Yeah.
And with this crew, we've got the best skill players we've had in quite a while, since 2011. And we just don't have any linemen.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that we don't have kids trying. We just don't have any proven linemen.
Yeah.
And
you have some young hogs coming up, though.
We do have some young ones coming.
Yeah.
And, you just wish that if we could hold one group back or bring one group forward in time, it'd be a great mixture.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We like the attitude of our players. We like what we see them trying to do on and off the field. So, we're ready. We're ready to get started. And as you said earlier, 45 days and about 40 minutes or so.
Can we squeeze one more in before the break?
Absolutely.
Okay. Senior leadership's everything. And, I saw a sign on social media that y'all have in the locker room. It says, bad teams have no leadership. Average or mediocre teams, coaches lead. Championship teams, players lead. really Race Marin and Matthew Ross. Those are two guys that I've seen camping all over the place. A lot of your players at all these different camps they've been going to over the summer and demonstrating that leadership mentality. And I heard you in a podcast, you say, the difference between Ty Cox this year and last year is he would beat an offensive lineman in practice and not really say anything. But this year he's going back and saying, hey, man, this is how you need to defend me. This is how you need to block me. And so now he's developed as one of those guys. So I was going to ask you right here before the break, any idea, any clues on who will wear the coveted number 8 this year? Because I know there's lots of candidates trying to get that Eli Grove legacy number 8.
No, that vote will be taken here in about 2 weeks. Yeah. And I'm sure every coach has got somebody in mind right now, as we've got, as you said, several impressive candidates. I do want to say this because this goes back to Ty Cox. And I know you're pressing up against the break here and all, but Ty Cox came to me and he said, it's not fair, Coach. He said, I can't get that jersey. And he can't. So this is what we've done with the blessings of Martha Few. Not this year because we couldn't do it this year. We're going to bring Jason Few's number 66. It's still going to stay on the wall and stuff, but it's going to be reinstituted, and a player has to earn the right. Alignment.
I think that's great, man. Yeah, for Jason Few. Yes.
So we're excited.
Yeah.
We're going to have 2 honorary jerseys, both of them for great young men.
Yes.
And one will be a first skill player, one will be for the lineman each year.
That's a great idea, Coach.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a great tribute.
That's
right
awesome.
No doubt about it.
That's going to be sweet. We're live at London's here with Tullahoma Wildcat head football coach and athletic director John Olive. We'll break, come back, and talk more with Coach Olive. Now, nobody's come in here to answer his trivia question. This is too easy. I don't want to have to take these 2 Sheffield baseball cards home. I will, but I don't want to have to. So come in, answer the trivia question. As a Tullahoma Wildcat, I was the leading high school football scorer in the CTC conference. That was actually District 8 before it became District 8. In 1955, earning all mid-state first-team honors and second-team all-state honors. I was a fierce competitor and lived by the mantra, win without boasting, lose without excuse. I have a youth football league named after me. If that last clue doesn't give it to you, you just don't know Tullahoma. But I know a lot of you do because you call every week. Get down here to London's before 7 o'clock. Give me the right answer there. You'll get these 2 excellent baseball cards of these young Tullahoma athletes who are going to be soon in the major leagues. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. You're listening to the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? Light Tube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
93.9 The Duck, your local radio station playing the classic hits you know and love. The Duck covers all your local high school and college sports, from the Shasteen Show on Monday nights to Alabama football on Saturdays. Spreading the word to our listeners about your local business from southern Middle Tennessee to North Alabama is what the Duck does. If you're a new business looking to grow or an established business looking to expand, the Duck has a custom plan to fit your needs. So become part of the flock with 93.9 The Duck.
Centrally located to the colleges, high schools, and middle schools it serves across southern Middle Tennessee, Sports Plus is also Tullahoma's only locally owned sports store with brands like Under Armour, Wilson, Rawlings, Majestic Athletics, and New Era baseball caps. Owner Joe Barstad has something for all fans and athletes alike. From pro and college apparel to your favorite hometown team, Sports Plus also works with the latest uniform trends and technology. Learn more at sportsplustullahoma.com.
Welcome back to downtown T-Town. We are live at London. Let me tell you what's happening here tomorrow night. It's going to be big. Of course, it's the big fireworks show down at Fraser McEwen Park. That activity gets started at about 3 tomorrow afternoon. There'll be bands, there'll be food, there'll be beer, just everything everybody wants. And then the fireworks will go about 9:15, something like that. After the fireworks, the after party is here at London.
It is.
And so you're invited to come down and after party, although they did sort of come out in the paper yesterday, Ken, and say it was really designed for young people. So I got a feeling we're not really going to be welcome down here. Coach Olive will be welcome.
There you go.
But no, it's going to be fun. Come on down here to London's after the fireworks tomorrow night and enjoy the after party. We're talking with Tullahoma Wildcat head football coach John Olive. Coach, you've had a couple of assistant coaching changes. Catch us up on your staff.
Well, the one and only Bert Oakley has retired. And
we're still going to play football in Tullahoma without Bert. That's amazing.
If we got a football.
Yeah, because he's the man brings them out.
Obviously he coached defensive ends, and he was in charge of our PAT field goal team, and primarily worked with punters and sometimes kickers. And every now and then he'd move over to the offensive side of the ball to share a little expertise with either receivers or running backs. But the place that he is most crucial was in the equipment area. He's the best equipment guy I've ever been around. And doesn't make any difference whether I was on the college level or whether it's high school. He still brought boxes that we didn't even know existed. And so anyway,
he's going to be missed.
He will be
big shoes to fill.
You needed
there.
somebody in that position that the kids have a respectful fear, and at the same time, when you have chewed your mouthpiece into obliteration, that he's got enough compassion and common sense to give you another one. Corey Searcy is going to come back, and he's going to replace Bert, and he's going to do the cage, take care of equipment, get the uniform sewn up each week, and then he will coach defensive ends as well. So he's the one that we're definitely have made a move with. There's a couple of other younger coaches that we're talking with. That'll be a volunteer type coach situation where they're not employed by the school system. So anyway, that's basically where we are. But defensively, Coach Sis, Coach Britton, Coach Searcy will have the defensive front. Jared Olive and Dustin Hazel will have the defensive backfield. On the offensive side, Mo Torres is still working with the up front people. Maurice Shaw still has the running backs. Caleb Olive will have quarterbacks, and Jared Olive will have the wide receivers on that side. We're looking at talking to a couple others to help supplement some of those areas there, so that we can have some coaches that work on both sides of the ball.
And we know Cody McMurtry has now taken over as the head coach of the Lady Cat basketball team. So Cody gave you some good years as assistant.
Gave some real good years, and we're still talking to him about the duty to do on Friday night. So
there you go.
His wife's offered to pay me $20 every Friday night if I'll take him off her hands. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, he will not be working with us though on a day-to-day basis. He still don't probably hang out with us sometimes on Fridays though.
So when I come down there on Wednesday afternoon while you're practicing to get my packet for that Friday night's game, somebody's going to be there to have them packets on that counter because Bert's gone. You're telling me somebody's going to have them packets for me, right?
That's correct.
We depend on those things to be prepared. Coach, I want to switch a little bit to Region 4-4A just for a second, and we'll try to do this again, a week or two before the season starts. We usually do, but it's getting close. Region 4-4A is tough.
Yes.
You got some outstanding quarterbacks coming back this year. Bobo Hodges from Maplewood, the Wallace kid comes back, and then Brandon Wharton from Nolensville. That Nolensville team's going to be a load. 5-5 last year, missed out on the playoffs. Spring Hill's got a couple of transfers that have come in there. They've got a new coach. How are we going to get into playoffs in that tough Region 4-4A? I know we got to beat one of those 4 teams, but it's not getting any easier there, is it?
It's not any easier. You know, the last 2 years, our region has swept the other region in the first round of the playoffs, and then end up fighting against each other to see who gets to draw Greenville. And so it's not an easy road for us. We start off with 2 rival games, and we play the best team in our region, Marshall County. Then we turn around and play another rival game, and then Spring Hill. We haven't given a very good effort against Spring Hill for 2 years, and we get emotionally flat at that point in time, and it's something that we're aware of, and it's something that hopefully we'll be able to solve a little bit. But it's a tough old opening 5-game run there, and then, as you said, Nolensville was all juniors and sophomores and freshmen last year, so they got everybody returning. Spring Hill picks up the running back from Page that's a stud duck, and Maplewood gets their wide receiver, who's a 4-star rated wide receiver back from Independence. And so it's. And
then did Marshall County add a championship game MVP or something?
They added the championship MVP of the state championship game for Cornersville. Is now they want to be their running back, and so everybody's added some pieces. And
the recruiting game is strong in Region 4-4A, is it not?
I tell you, it's funny. I was on the way over here, and I was listening to Johnny Cash. Ring of Fire came up on my phone. And I said, John Olive is in the Ring of Fire in Region 4-4A, man. With these hotbed of teams in here, man, they're just. You throw it in. There's no easy weeks in this schedule right here. It's amazing, and we didn't even mention Grayson Trammell at quarterback. So you're going to see Trammell and then Bryce Wallace the first 3 weeks of the season. So that secondary is going to have to be ready in that pass rush. That defense has got to show up early.
Defense has got to show up early, or we'll get embarrassed real quick. And so anyway, it's there's no easy answers. I do know that when our seniors were freshmen, they handled some of these guys. Obviously, we didn't see Nolensville, and Nolensville's actually a 5A school playing 4A ball right now.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's where they'll bounce after this year right here. They'll bounce.
Well, look at 1 year what you did though. 2016, you get beat by an average of 32 points a game. Last year, you win 5 games, and 3 of those losses was just by 7 points. By a touchdown. So you were competitive every game. Marshall County, 7-point loss. Franklin County, 7-point loss. Giles County, a 7-point win. Maplewood, a 7-point loss. So, I mean, it could have been 8-2 right there.
Could have been, or it could have been 2-8.
Yeah.
1-9. We made some plays, and there were some games that we wish we could have made another play or two. Yeah. It's a fine line. There's not a give me. This is a pretty good football team that we have right now. We've got some problems, but it's not, anything like it was in 2016 or 2015.
Right.
So we're excited. Our kids want to play for the region championship. Well, we don't get a chance. We get to see each one of them. It's not like we got to depend on somebody else. Yeah. And now the thing that I point out to our kids is we snuck up on some people last year. If you were Marshall County, were you worried about us?
Oh, that was y'all gave great effort that game.
They had killed us
amazing.
For 2 straight years. We were nothing.
Yes.
This time we'll have a little bit more of a bullseye on us. So we'll find out. We'll find out if we can step up and play with them. And you got Wallace, you got the running back that transferred, and then they got 3 all-region linemen that are coming back. So, where they're tough. The strongest may be our weakness. So we'll find out. We'll play.
Yeah, maybe we can get the AD. Next year when you redo the schedule to break those rivalry games up. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 of them maybe pushed back a little bit instead of getting all that, because it is a huge emotional output in those first weeks, and they're not even region games, but yet we play them, and we can't help it.
Right.
We play them like they're the most critical games on our schedule, and we love beating those teams. But when it comes to playoff bursts, they're not the most critical games on our schedule. But it does take a lot out of us.
It's
and
a big
tough.
dilemma. You know, it's not anything easy to solve right there. And, you know, there's no non-region game other than Giles County that is not a natural rivalry to us.
Well, and one thing I noticed, the first thing that really jumped out on me, if this schedule's concrete and valid, you don't have your bye week until the 8th week.
Right.
And I said, this gauntlet, you know, you got to be concerned about the health of your team. That's why you guys are working so much in the offseason to get bigger, stronger, and faster and build that condition up. You're going to need it, man, the first 7 weeks of the season, first 8 weeks, no doubt about it.
It's a good old run.
That's a tough spot for the bye to be at the end like that, but maybe that rejuvenates you if we can get in the playoffs.
Well,
hey, you know, that's what you're hoping, man.
You got a school schedule with fall breaks, and that's what you try to do is get your open date to match up with those fall dates.
That's right.
So,
Coach, stay with us for the final segment.
Okay.
John Olive, the head coach of the Tullahoma Wildcats and athletic director at Tullahoma High School. We'll bounce around, talk about some other sports when we come back. Driven by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma, live downtown at London's. You're listening to the Shasteen Show on 93.9 The Duck.
Have you heard the news? The Russell Barnett Automotive family has launched its new and improved website. That's russellbarnett.com. With over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, then look no further than russellbarnett.com. Online service appointments, customer testimonials, and vehicle history reports, this website has it all. We are the largest Middle Tennessee family-owned dealership with 5 locations to choose from. russellbarnett.com, and why buy anywhere else?
Do you need more? More golf, hunting, or camping? More basketball, soccer, and baseball? Do you need more football? Do you just need more sports? LightTube's digital sports tier has more sports. Offering 12 additional sports channels for only $3 additional a month. What are you waiting on? Call 455-4515 and get more today.
It is a beautiful Monday night in July in downtown Tullahoma, along with John Olive and Ken Keller. I'm Scott Shasteen. Welcome back to this edition of the Shasteen Show. You can watch the replay of this program beginning Wednesday at 6 o'clock on LightTube Channel 23. And, of course, you can watch all of the Tullahoma Wildcat football games on each Wednesday night beginning at 6 o'clock. Following the Friday night game. I made that really confusing. All season long, you can watch the football games at 6 o'clock on LightTube Channel 23. Coach, welcome back in. We appreciate you sticking around for the last segment. Ken, you're going to touch on the trenches. Let's talk about the trenches.
Yeah, trench warfare, you know, is critical. You guys got some defensive ends. You lost most, I guess, 4/5 of your offensive line, or 5/5, 4/5, 80% there, more or less. So, you know, let's talk about some guys that you may have pinpointed to be on the offensive line or those defensive tackle positions, because that is going to be critical. You seem to have players everywhere else and have depth everywhere else, but you got some young fellas coming up, I know, but it's going to be too much to ask those guys to come up and play varsity probably early on.
Well, you know, we know that that's where our hole is on both sides of the ball, interior linemen, and we've got some players who are working hard. Some of them are undersized. Okay, they're 190, 200 pounders instead of these 260s, 270s, 280s that we seem to see a lot more of nowadays than
no doubt
we did in the past. We have Paul Henry, who's been in the trenches. Ty Cox has been in the trenches. Ross is a tight end, or H-back's been in the trenches. But outside of that, we're not. I mean, you know, and we had some guys come out that we thought could help us. Got to June and they've disappeared. So we just move on without them. And we've got some sophomores that have shown potential. They've got to be able to. That's the big thing in the offensive line. You got to be able to think. You got to be able to think quick. I can be a 4.0 student, but if I can't think quick, I can't play in the offensive line, because things are changing constantly up there, And I've got to be able to communicate and understand the communication and make the block work. And we have outstanding freshman linemen coming. They're going to be Coach Torres. They remind him of the 2010 bunch, which, if you remember, in 2010 we had Will Sharpton, we had Luke Frederick, we had Brandon Miller, we had Jacob Hill, and we had Joe Dache, and we had Alan Starks and Joe London at tight ends. I mean, that's been the best offensive line since I've been here. Coach Torres thinks that this freshman class has got the potential to be as good or better than that. And they're getting a lot of attention from the people who play at the next level, as they've been going to various camps, and they already have what all of them want, size. Now the question is, can they get to where they can move and make plays like they got to have them at that level?
Yeah, I believe they were up on the hill a couple of weeks ago.
A couple of them were over on the hill, and I think one of them, Poe, left from there and went to Alabama in the same week.
Pretty good tour.
So.
Jacob Hill, you know what his nickname was, Ken? Snack Pack.
Snack Pack.
I forgot about that.
He liked to snack a little bit. That was my daughter's class, so those were great guys. They were good, excellent linemen and a great group of guys. We're talking offense now with Tullahoma head football coach John Olive. And coach, of course, skill positions, glamour position. You got to replace one of the most prolific quarterbacks in Tullahoma history. I mean, Nick Barstad had a great year. He got that ball out quick. He was smart. He could read those coverages and that sort of thing. Talk about the quarterback position, who's competing for it, and what you're going to expect out of that this year.
Well, we have 4 quarterbacks at this point in time. Senior, Peyton Howard. Junior, Ben Fulton. And then we have 2 sophomores, Jacoby Thomas and Kyler Parker. And all 4 of those guys have some really good attributes. And if you saw the red and white game, Kyler Parker, who's by far and away the smallest of that crew, may have a huge heart, though. I mean, he did some good stuff. That's the reason he's the leader. That's the reason that he was able to be the freshman quarterback this past year. Jacoby Thomas is we don't get Jacoby Thomases very often.
No.
He's pretty gifted. He's got big size and great quickness and really good speed. And then you have Ben Fulton and Peyton Howard that are more your traditional looking. They're both 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". Ben's probably 175 pounds maybe when he's soaking wet. Peyton probably pushes 210, 215. Good sized young man. We've talked about, do we put some packages together for each of them and try to take advantage of what they're able to do. Both Peyton and Ben have a stronger arm than Nick. But Nick threw for 2,300 yards, 2,200 yards or so. And, I think there was less than 8 passes that went further than 20 yards down the field. The rest of them were underneath that mark, and he still threw for that kind of yardage because he could read. And we're obviously a big RPO team, and he was able to read his run-pass option and snap that ball out of there and throw it.
And scrambled a lot.
Yes,
I mean, he avoided sacks as well as any Tullahoma quarterback I've ever seen. And that includes guys like Cass, who were natural runners. Nick just sort of had a knack for ducking under a guy and going the other way.
We were putting the clock on him on how fast he could get the ball out on certain routes and so forth. And as we were doing that, we realized one time that he's changed his arm trajectory to where the ball went under the armpit of the defensive end that was jumping up in his face.
Yeah.
And you don't do that naturally. I mean,
we
don't teach you how to do that. That's something that you got to know.
Yeah,
we were just there.
Caleb's not teaching that down there?
We were right on it, but for the first game, we said Nick just got to get the ball to playmakers. Make good decisions, throw the ball away, don't throw it into traffic, don't force anything. Is that kind of mentality passing-wise that you've got with these 4 guys you're working with now pretty much too?
Sure.
Just manage the game.
Manage the game. Don't turn the ball over. That's the number one thing, and that's the biggest thing that changed for Nick, because even back when Nick was a sophomore and junior, he could make some plays, but he's allowed to make a play for the other team.
Right.
And that was the biggest change, is that he continued to make plays for the offense, but he quit making plays for the other team's defense.
And Nick completed about 70% of his passes, which I think you said Robert Matthews was the only other quarterback you had that was even comparable to that around that.
That's correct.
But you may have an opportunity to take deeper chunk plays this year with the offensive weapons you got at wide receiver.
And that's correct.
And tight end.
And what we'll try to do is like last year when Amari came in, all of a sudden we started throwing a lot more swing passes to Amari, because if we could get him out in space, he had a chance. And he had a chance, if you missed the tackle, to take it to the house. And I know Shelbyville underestimated his speed there in the first half, and twice he's ripped off down that sideline, once for a score and once for a big gain. Both times you watch the free safety, he's got him. He's on him, but he can't tag him once he turned that corner. So we won't have that kind of speed in the backfield this year. We'll have good speed, but we'll have speed at some of the wide receiver positions that we haven't had, so we'll try to take advantage of that.
So where do you line up Kobe Burks? He's such a multi-talented guy. I mean, he can do just about anything. Offensively, do you move him around and try to get your matchup, or are you thinking one spot for him?
He'll primarily be the slot receiver, but we'll move him around. I wouldn't be shocked if he lines up at quarterback sometimes. And
got a pretty good arm from what I hear.
He does. And he's a cool customer. He doesn't, if you go back and you look at quote-unquote gig 'em plays or trick plays that we put in, he's almost always involved in them, because he handles the pressure. He doesn't choke, for lack of a better word. He doesn't get choked. He does it.
Well, you guys certainly had your share of successful trick or gimmick plays last year, no doubt about it.
Race Marion last year wore the number 8 of Eli Groh and had a tremendous year. Just so you can use him so many ways. He's a heck of a punter. I mean, the more you look back, Race 35, 36 yards a punt, just consistent punter, even though he's doing that rugby style, which drives me nuts. But so half of them roll 50 yards, so that's great. Where don't you use Race this year? How do you get him some rest?
Well, number one, we're hoping to give him a little bit more rest, just because we've got a player behind him on both sides of the ball now that we can give him a little rest. We probably cannot rest him on the special team side of it, but we can rest him on offense and we can rest him on defense. We're hoping to do a better job of that than we did last year. And we feel like we've got a little bit more depth with those skilled players to roll some people in and out of there. And hopefully we won't all be laying over on the sideline cramped up in the first game.
It's going to be hot. We know that when Shelbyville comes to Wilkins Stadium. Coach, our defensive backfield ready for the leading passer in the state of Tennessee coming in game one?
No, we're not ready today, but we will work hard to get ready for Mr. Trammell, and we'll have to come up with a different game plan than we had last year, because last year we took them a little bit by surprise, and once they figured out what we were doing, they made their adjustments, and we didn't have an answer to make adjustments because we had players laying on the sideline. And
they made their charge, but we held on.
We did.
Got that monkey off that back.
Just go right 5-15 on the big chalkboard. That's what he threw for last year, 4 TDs, but still lost.
Set an all-time state record in one game, threw for, I believe, 608 yards in one game, an all-time Tennessee state record.
Defense had some major stops in that game, though. Even though that kid threw for 5-15, we made enough big plays to keep them down to 29 points. I thought was a good job by the defense.
Coach, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you for doing this. We'll see you in August covering the Tullahoma Wildcats. That's going to do it for this edition of the Shasteen Show. For John Olive and Ken Keller, I'm Scott Shasteen. Be good to each other.
The Shasteen Show, presented by Russell Barnett Ford of Tullahoma and brought to you by Southern Community Bank, Rogers Insurance Group, and Mission Collision, is a presentation of Bowman Media Company and 93.9 The Duck. The show is taped before a live audience at London's in downtown Tullahoma, Monday nights at 6 p.m. Come join us for cold beer and Tullahoma's best burgers. Thanks for watching The Shasteen Show on LightTube Channel 23.